In the mid-20th century, the family vacation exploded. It was the golden era of the vacation. Planning a family vacation was a sense of excitement, the thrill of setting out on the open road, of sleeping in the hotel. However, imagine that this dream was overshadowed by uncertainty. Where are you going to eat? Where are you going to stay? How are you going to get gas without mistreatment? This was the challenging reality for countless Black families as they attempted to simply go on a leisurely vacation. So today we're going to talk about the complex, often chilling history of the Black vacation. And if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. But without further ado, let's get started. In the early 19th century, taking time off for leisure was a luxury primarily enjoyed by the affluent. Significant societal changes brought about by the Industrial Revolution, including the establishment of the first vacation resorts. During 1820s and 1830s, destinations like Saratoga Springs became popular among the wealthy who sought their therapeutic benefits of mineral springs with the societal opportunities of resort life. But by the mid-20th century, leisure travel became a common activity for Americans from various walks of life. The development of railroads in the mid-19th century became instrumental in making travel more accessible to the burgeoning middle class. And as the concept of vacations gained popularity in the late 19th, early 20th century, the creation of the National Park System in 1916 represented a key milestone, advocating for the enjoyment of natural beauty and outdoor recreation. This transformation was further accelerated by the mass production of automobiles and the emergence of the national highway systems, which allow families to travel more freely and explore more destinations that were previously out of reach by train. However, for African Americans, the idea of vacationing, especially during slavery, was ridiculous. It was unimaginable. Even during emancipation, the establishment of Jim Crow ensured that travel remained extremely perilous. And in response to these challenges, Black communities sought to create safe spaces where they could travel and leisure in peace. The Great Migration created this demographic shift in the United States and provided African Americans with new recreational possibilities. As the Black middle class began to grow, there was an increasing desire to partake in the same leisure pursuits as their white counterparts. This gave rise to African American leisure establishments such as Ottawa Resort in Michigan or American Beach in Florida. These venues offer Black families a refuge to enjoy recreational activities away from racial discrimination that was prevalent in everyday society. Black churches played a critical role in creating these opportunities for leisure travel. They would organize trips, picnics, and retreats, and it would provide spiritual rejuvenation and a break from everyday oppression. Similarly, Black motor clubs, which emerged in the early 20th century in response to the dangers of traveling under segregation, provided a network of support and information on safe establishments that treated Black patrons with some dignity. They would also organize group outings, tours for safe destinations, and these clubs transformed potential isolation into communal events. Despite these efforts, travel remained fraught with peril for Black Americans. The lack of infrastructure to support Black travelers meant that they often faced discriminatory establishments and outright racial hostility. Many Black families packed their meals, carried their own food, and slept in their vehicles to avoid the humiliation and potential violence of being refused service. The existence of sundown towns where African Americans weren't allowed to be after dark necessitated meticulously planning, carefully consider their routes, pit stops, and destinations to ensure their safety. Fast forward to the post-World War II economic boom, where this economic prosperity saw a boom in the vacation industry, and the advent of the National Interstate and Defense Highways Act in 1956 and the increase of disposable income allowed for more frequent and varied holiday experiences. Hotels, roadside attractions, destinations like Disneyland, which opened in 1955, catered to automotive traveling families. The highway network also inadvertently brought African Americans in contact with previously isolated white communities. The highway system became both a pathway to new opportunities and a battleground for civil rights as African Americans asserted their right to travel freely despite encountering racist law enforcement officers, bigoted repairmen, and discriminatory establishments. In response to these persistent dangers, a network of Black businesses catering to Black travelers organically emerged throughout the country, from guest houses to tourist homes to the establishment of large hotels like New York's Hotel Teresa or Miami's Hampton House Motel. These establishments provided crucial services for Black travelers. Restaurants like Dookie Chase in New Orleans or Pascal's in Atlanta, along with Black-owned service stations, allowed travelers to stay fed and their vehicles operational. These businesses, which were often only known to the Black community, reflected a vibrant entrepreneurial spirit to help Black travelers navigate a segregated world. To further support Black travelers, travel guides were created, such as the Negro Motorist Green Book. These guidebooks listed hotels, restaurants, service stations, homes, welcomed Black travelers, providing a crucial resource for safe travel. The Green Book became indispensable and initially only covered areas east of the Mississippi, but eventually covered the entire lower 48. And in its peak, the Green Book listed 1,500 accommodations across the United States and even extended into parts of Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Another Black travel guide was called the Travel Guide. It contained essential information for Black families about where it was safe to eat, sleep, and refuel. By 1949, the Travel Guide included 101 listings in 300 cities. Newspapers like the Chicago Defender would also promote safe travel by informing readers of discrimination that they might face while traveling and recommending safe havens. These newspapers provided essential support for Black travelers by listing friendly accommodations, restaurants, and other services, helping them navigate a landscape marked by discrimination. Additionally, the development of commercial air travel in the latter half of the 20th century further expanded possibilities, making distant and exotic locations accessible to the average American. So Black Americans also sought to travel more internationally. Recognizing this demand, Black travel agencies were created to cater to this need. Travel agencies would book thousands of Black travelers to international destinations, particularly in the Caribbean and Africa, where they found a reprieve from American racism and the ability to connect with the Black diaspora. A major watershed moment for Black vacationing came with the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, particularly the Public Accommodations Act, which legally ended segregation in public places. This marked a crucial step forward in equality, ensuring that all public accommodations were accessible to everyone. Nonetheless, the equality was far from realized as economic disparities ingrained in social prejudice continued to linger. Despite legal strides against segregation, many businesses, particularly in the South, would find new ways to circumvent these laws, tactics including private club status or implementing discouragement against Black patronage. For instance, in Montgomery, Alabama, the airport waiting area seats were removed to prevent racially integrated use, and public amenities like bathrooms and water fountains were locked or disabled to avoid shared usage. Furthermore, desegregation of recreational spaces such as beaches and amusement parks introduced brand new challenges. Black families ventured into these newly opened spaces and encountered resistance, hostility, and discrimination from the white patrons. Although these sites represented a triumph of the civil rights movement, they also exposed the enduring obstacles that Black people continue to face. The fight for equitable access continued well beyond 1964, driven by a new generation that were inspired by the civil rights movement. They filed lawsuits, organized boycotts, and demanded accountability for businesses that violated the law, striving to translate legal victories into everyday reality. However, the reality for those businesses they used to cater primarily to Black travelers was significant, as many struggled to compete with previously inaccessible establishments. As travel options expanded, the newly accessible mainstream establishments signaled a decline in African American or Black catering businesses that thrived in the era of segregation. This fate mirrored the fate of the Negro Baseball League following integration and highlighted the complexities of racial integration, as Black-owned businesses struggled without the protective patronage of their now dispersed African American customer base. So, as the sun set on the era of enforced segregation, a new dawn of opportunities for Black travelers sought both progress and challenges. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 brought monumental victories, tearing down legal barriers, opening doors that had long been shut. However, this journey towards true equality was far from over, and despite those legal milestones, enduring social prejudices and economic disparities continued to cast long shadows over newfound freedoms. Black travelers who told stories of triumph over prejudice and the unyielding quest for dignity and respect when all you wanted to do was put your feet up. Thank you. I'm your host, Country Boy, and this has been the complex, often chilling history of the Black family vacation. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at whatmikehistory.com. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on Buy Me Coffee, Patreon page in the description below. I'd like to thank all my financial contributors. Without you, none of this could be possible, and peace.